places that person to go up and exit that doorway into what we think is the sky is the limit. And that person that is designated in yellow is the student. And the stairs that are pushing you upward are the parents. And I emphasize here as parents, guardians, and I don't mean blood relatives. And as we will discuss further, I mean we as a community are responsible to be as well as parents. Next slide, please. To first educate ourselves, we must also understand what our faith in the majority of the audience is Islam says about education. And as far as the students goes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it seems to be a Mac PC thing where Arabic has been reversed and all sorts of jazz. Not my fault, I hope. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. The one that is truly fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is conscientious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the one who has education. And you can say, what does education have to do with conscientiousness? If you are educated, and you recognize how the universe works as a physicist, you say, subhanallah, it is impossible that somebody could have put this together if it wasn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when that leads to you being conscientious as a student, the benefit goes back directly to the parents. When we perish off this earth, and how many individuals have we buried this individual week, this week, in tragedies that occur every week? You lose everything from this earth, your finances, your businesses, except for three things. And the main thing that I highlighted in red is a righteous son, and in Arabic, waladun salih is not specific to a guy. A righteous offspring. It could be a righteous daughter as well. Think about it. If that righteous student is conscientious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through the education that he has obtained, or she has obtained, he is benefiting first, but when you go, he is there to give dua, to make dua to you. Because he is conscientious that he is responsible to you as you were responsible to him, and vice versa. So this is a cyclic position. It's a cyclic pathway. If you obtain the conscientiousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you as the parent are the other beneficiary of this conscious character. The second perspective of gaining education about what is higher education. Why is it so important? And that's the next slide. It's through free publications. We live in a world of high throughput, high speed. And subhanAllah, none of us actually goes to the library anymore. I don't. Why? The library is at my fingertips. I allow my fingertips to do the walk-in for me. And the main website that I've given to students, and today I give to both the students and parents and or guardians, is thecollegeboard.com. It's an unbelievable website. They have 3 different publications that is updated yearly. The first of which is trends in college prices. Which college can I afford? For both the student and the parent. For the student, can I really go to whatever university it is? And for the parent, can I really pay for this education that my daughter, my son is aspiring to? You also have trends in student aid, which is usually what eliminates the fear of the first position of pricing. As soon as you see, oh my God, it's $6,000, $9,000 to attend the University of Michigan a year, forget about it. I'm not going there. I'm going somewhere. Well, did you look at the trends in student aid? Do you know there's over $280 billion that the government puts out for you to go and obtain an education? The other publication is College Pays, meaning the investment that you make during 4 years and 8 years, during your teen or tween years, later on pays tremendously. And it is clearly evident in the graph that is under the main wording. If you take a look at the y-axis, and going back to our math classes, y-axis is vertical, x-axis is horizontal. Cumulative net earning. How much do you make by the age that we will depict? Take a look at the different degrees. High school graduate. We're not even talking about high school dropouts today, at least for me. Associates, 2-year degree. Bachelor's degree. You take a look at the initial investment between the age of 18 to 30, the individual who is going to college is actually in the red. You have making money just fine. Why should I be the poor guy that is at the library studying and he's a pauper? Well, take a look at the end. As you are growing into older age, as you hit your 50s, your hips are not carrying you the way that you think they should carry you. Your knees are weakening. Your muscles are not in tone the way they used to be in the 20s. And the individual who has been toiling for their whole life in high school will continue to toil until they are put 6 feet under. But the individual who has obtained a higher degree, if you take a look at the numbers, is 40% more as far as better off with pay. They have saved up for their nice little golden years. While you as an individual, you might not even have your benefits running anymore. So the investment initially during your tween years are incredible. Next slide, please. The other perspective, or the other portion of educating ourselves, of higher learning, is of course educators. We have gotten so used to getting our stuff indirectly, through the internet, through TV, through you name it. And we forget there are actually human beings that are putting together this data and are available to talk to you. And they're amongst you today. So why don't you take a look at a guidance counselor? Sit with him as a parent. Sit with a guidance counselor. Talk to them. What classes are my students taking? What classes should my son and daughter be focusing on? I think they should aim for this following degree. What classes would fulfill that requirement? Talk to teachers. Yes, teachers that sometimes we as parents view as enemies because our kids come home and say, so-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so has said such and such, and we don't take the other perspective. Talk to the teacher. What can you improve upon? And of course, focus on mentors from your community. Select an individual who's righteous, who you know will be able to give your son or daughter the right speech. Give them a pep talk. And I'm not even talking about a direct, because when it comes down to this, the most asked questions that I have received as an attendant, as a speaker, at college career fair or career days come from sisters. Brothers, I have no idea. Maybe it's the beard. They get afraid of the beard. But the sisters are constantly asking me, personally, and the majority of the time via email. So if you're selecting a mentor, it doesn't have to be a sister if you cannot find a sister within a career that your daughter is interested in. Connect her with a righteous brother. And give him the email or give her the email. And say, you know what, he's right there, talk to him. And if you're so afraid of the communication that might occur between them, you may establish the communication, just pass on the information. Which will delve us into the next slide. Communication. And understanding the environment that our kids are within these days. You see that picture on the far right, my right, your left. Those days are long gone. I hate to disappoint you. Sitting in the stairways, sitting inside your living room with your son, with your daughter, and giving a nice little speech to them. Long gone. You know why? Because now we're in a high-speed time. Everybody has to go. Everybody has something to do, people to see. So that does not mean that you lose the communication between you and your child, or between you as a child and you and the parent that you should admire. Useful links these days that everybody can go to. If you have information as a parent, give this to your child. Useful links. knowhowtogo.org. It gives you the plan from the time you are in middle school all the way till the time you graduate out of your bachelor's degree. Right there, right in front of you. And all of my data and all the information that I disseminate comes from this website. Make use of emails. Going back to the concept of mentors. Allow the communication to go actually in a beneficial route. Instead of just allowing communication by email for just, hey, how are you, what are you doing tonight? But connect individuals through email. Audio visuals. So many of our kids these days walk, play, you name it. If you buy them an MP3 player, dare I say an iPod, and download certain things for them and say, you know what, this is going to be beneficial for you. Why don't you turn it on and play it while you're doing the following way? They might not take that advice seriously that day, that hour, that year. But later on, if they know that this is right in front of them, believe me, they will take advantage of it. All they need is just a direct link to something that will benefit them, and they will take it seriously. Social networks, Facebook. There are social networks specifically focusing on higher education. They could be used to help you as a parent as well as YouTube. There are so many videos that are available for students to watch, and it could be given to the parent. Once again, it's the concept of understanding where we are and being able to communicate this information to our sons and daughters, to our students if we are teachers. Next slide. The third step in the 5-step strategy is follow-through. You basically obtained the information you need. You understood how to communicate with your child. You've given it to your child. There we go. Don't forget this step, following through. Every NBA player, every sports player will tell you, the shot that you will take and its chances to achieve what it's supposed to achieve. Example, a basketball actually going into the net is mainly in your follow-through. Because if you just chuck it up there, it's not going to go in. But if you put the right arch and the right follow-through, it'll go in. This is not an exception. You are currently taking that shot at the free throw line. Are you going to follow through? And what I mean about follow-through is, once in a while, go back and rehash the information with your child. This could be through open houses. So many universities have open houses available every spring and every fall for the students to come. Why don't you, as a parent, organize it with your child? Yes, organize it with your kid. Meaning, put questions together. You're going to go to this, or you're just going to sit there as a statue? Okay, I got the information, let's go on. No, put together specific questions that you need to go ahead and address. Agenda, what should we do? And then it's followed with, assist with homework. And you can say, well, we got plenty of stuff, and I really don't know what they're doing. I can't answer their question. Take a look at mentors, and ask the mentor to follow through. And establish a reward system, per exam, per week, per semester, to make them feel that, look, we are accomplishing something. Next slide. Secure. Secure the individual, the student, the son and daughter, by establishing a safety net. Don't stress the money. Make sure you choose for them, or help them choose a major and a career, not a job. Be a moral support throughout their process. Develop a positive environment. Give them a specific room for scheduling time to study and time to go ahead and just pay attention to their study. And be their financial backbone with books, rides, etc. to make them feel that if they fall back, they got somebody to hold them up. Next slide. And finally, the concept of growth. And this is something that we really need to put a lot of effort into. And that is allowing for intellectual development. Allow for independence. Encourage your son and your daughter to go ahead and mature. Think out of the box. Don't just have that visor and say, you know what, this is how we did it when we were young as parents, and this is how we should have our kids do it. Allow them to explore as long as it is within the boundaries that is appropriate. Make sure to encourage the differences and encourage alternative methods. Allow them to have different peers, to take a look at different philosophies that are out there, and allow them to grow and accomplish the first portion of the growth. And finally, take pride in the accomplishment that the student has picked up. Just because your son or your daughter decided, you know what, culinary arts is my life. I want to be a cook. I want to be a master chef. Don't belittle that. Just because you thought he should have been an engineer and a physician doesn't mean that he didn't accomplish or she didn't accomplish anything. They could be the best chef there is out there. They could be the newest entrepreneur in the market. So take pride of their accomplishments and actually show them that you do care by following these 5 strategic plans. My time is up. I'll take any questions and any additional information you guys might want to share. Thank you.